You just bought a $1,000 cell phone that claims to have as good of a camera as any professional camera, and I'm going to show you why it's not. Have you ever wondered why professional photographers don't just use their cell phones on a photo shoot? I mean, this is a really good cell phone. So today we're going to do a comparison between my Samsung Note 10 and my Canon 5D Mark IV. The Samsung has 3 cameras, which I thought was really cool when I bought the phone. It has a wide angle, a mid-range, and a telephoto. And in our course, we actually talk about 3 different types of lenses, and there's wide angles, mid-range, and telephoto. So, I mean, that's all I need. I've got everything I need right here. Wide angle, mid-range, telephoto. I'm done. I'm going to sell my camera. So we have my cute little model, Erin, and we're going to take the 3 cameras that come on your cell phone, a wide angle, a mid-range, and a telephoto, and we're going to try to match the same ranges with our lenses. So we're going to do a wide angle, a telephoto, and a mid-range zoom, and we're going to try to match. Then we're going to play around a little bit. We're going to compare them side by side, and I'm hoping at the end of the video to convince you that cell phone cameras indeed are not as good as a professional DSLR. So we're going to turn on my Canon 5D Mark IV, and the lens I have on it is a 24-70. I felt like that would give me a good wide angle and mid-range, and then we will put on the 70-200 for a telephoto. And to match that, we're going to start out wide angle, and we're going to turn on our camera, and we're going to click wide angle. There's our mid-range, and there's our telephoto. So we're going to click on wide angle. I'm going to do it horizontal to try to match what I'm seeing in my camera. And I'm going to try to match approximate height and distance in the frame. And I feel like we're pretty close. I'm going to go ahead and shoot the image here. And we're going to go ahead and shoot the image here. I'm going to move that's going to take us 17, and we're going to look at them side by side. Zoom in a little bit. So there's Erin. Ooh, look at the grain there in her face. It's not even grain, yeah, it's just muddy. We're going to look at the blur in the background. It's blurred really nicely. It's handled the light a lot softer there on her face. Her shadows are a little softer on the camera. So I think coloring on the dark's a lot better. I like how it handled my shadows a lot better on the DSLR. So we're going to do a fun little trick that we discovered as we were playing around before the video. We're going to physically move closer to our subject using just the wide angle. We're still set at wide angle. I'm going to keep my focal length the same on the camera, and we're going to physically move closer to Erin. Hello, Erin.
Hey.
How are you today? We're going to turn the camera around a little bit. Okay, so we're still wide angle lens, but we're physically closer to Erin quite a bit. We're going to try to be about the same to Erin on this cell phone shot. And I'm going to even go a little more extreme, but I want to take this shot. Look up here at this one for me. Hello. But then we want to show us something really we found quite comical as we were. Look at the distortion on Erin's face. The closer we get. The reason we say that is because I want to show you, we went off tripod here for a minute. We're going to get physically closer to Erin to try to get that same distortion. And my lens will not allow me to take that picture. That red box means you're too close, ding dong, back up. So the closest it will let me shoot that is right there. So let's compare those two that let's talk a minute why this is so bad and why we don't want to take a telephoto lens and zoom and physically go as close to the subject as possible. We've got some major distortion on her face. Look at her chin and how much bigger it made her cheeks, because the camera takes whatever's closest to the camera and emphasizes how big that is. So here we've got as close as my camera would let me get. We still have some distortion. Look at how crisp her eyes are though. That looks so good. But this distortion isn't as bad, I feel like. Still definitely distorted. But if you want to take a close-up, and maybe let's move on to the next, let's go to a mid-range, and I'll switch this camera to a mid-range. We're going to set this up so that Erin looks pretty. I mean, Erin already looks pretty.
Not distorted.
Not distorted. And we're going to talk about why this is a better focal length for portraits. So if you notice too, lighting is obviously a big deal. Yeah, I don't generally shoot on tripod because I am a newborn photographer. And the tripod in my toolkit is from Walmart, and I don't recommend it. It's very unstable. So if you're going to be shooting on tripods a lot, invest in a very nice tripod, not a Walmart tripod. Focal length right now is 70, which is a great focal length for portraits, but this is more of a video for comparisons, right? So if I want to get approximately that same focal length, I'm going to go this way though. We're probably about there, you think? Yeah, so we're going to hug my camera and reach around and take this image. And then we're going to do the same thing. And I think this is where you're going to notice the biggest difference. So let's look at these side by side. Oh, like no contest. I love my lighting so much better. I love the blur. The cell phone camera is trying to expose for different exposures. It's trying to compensate for different exposures. So it's not doing my lighting as nicely and soft. Look at the shadow fall off and the difference here in the shadow versus how softly that shadow falls off here and the line between our bright spots. But then look at the lighting in her face. It's so pretty here on the camera versus here on the cell phone. And it just makes her, it softens her skin really nice. If we were to maybe zoom in on the texture on her skin versus sharpness in her eyes. And even look at the eyelashes. This is an interesting part to point out. Every eyelash you can see almost. Whereas here it almost is like they've clumped them together. That's interesting. Camera wins out on that one. So we took a little commercial break to upgrade the tripod. I ran to Walmart really fast. Just kidding. This is my videographer's tripod. I do not recommend putting a 70-200 lens on a heavy camera on a less stable tripod. So we upgraded the tripod, and we're going to now compare the telephoto lens on the Mark IV to the telephoto setting on the Samsung Note 10. Is that about the same? Before I even take the picture, let's look at what the difference is there before. I don't even have to take the picture. Maybe let's focus in on her first. There we go. The blur in the background is absolutely gorgeous. My ISO is a little bit high because we're in a darker room, but the Mark IV can handle that really well. Shutter speed's at 400. I could probably decrease that now that we have a more stable tripod. I don't like that the camera is really trying to help me see what's in the background there. We're gonna zoom in. Oh, look at her eyes, how crisp those are.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. Again, with the muddy look in her hair. Let's come over here to look at her hair. And we've got a little bit of the light coming in that's making the hair, the edges of the hair, less distinct. But if we look at her skin tone here, like right up in here, the DSLR is actually handling that a lot better. Cell phone cameras can blur, right? Let's just turn on our live focus and then we'll get the same blur. Get a little closer, it says. We're gonna take that picture. Oh, I bet that's gonna be pretty. Really, I could almost blurs it right here at her hairline too. So that's lovely. Why don't we just do that more often? Because we don't want everything blurred. So we were testing this in the office earlier. I want a more zoomed out one and show you what it was doing to us in the office that we thought was interesting. I gotta get super, I have to hike over the, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna take this picture, and that's not a natural lens blur look. Look at her arm here and her hair. It's just running probably a Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur?
Gaussian.
That'll be on our next YouTube video. I would like you to convince me otherwise, but I am going to say that the DSLR wins out over the Samsung Note 10 camera. Please like our video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell so that you receive notifications. If you want to learn more about the different lens lengths we talked about, telephoto, wide angle, or mid-range lenses, come check out our Baby Photo Academy courses at babyphotoacademy.com. And remember to subscribe to our channel and click the bell so that you receive notifications on when we post new videos. Thanks for joining us, and use your DSLR camera, not your cell phone. Ta-ta for now.